Welcome in to the 2026 Week 27 devlog for Slammer, an FPS Battle Royale game that I'm solo developing on Unreal Engine 5. Some very exciting things happening this week when it comes to Hitmarkers, as you can see here, and if you notice, the bots are finally back for the first time since Test Drive 1. But before I got to any new features, I had to clean up something from last week's devlog. So if you notice when you watch back last week's devlog, I was deliberately not reviving from the prone state. And the reason for that is because of the way that I had set up the revive interaction. Reviving from prone didn't work at all. So what I did to fix this is I made an overarching interaction system that I was actually planning to do in Test Drive 3, not Test Drive 2. But if you think about it, reviving is in fact an interaction. So it is the first use case of that system. And although it might not sound like it, this was quite a heavy lift on the C++ side and took quite a bit of time. But once it was done, you're seeing the result here where reviving works no matter what stance you're in. And this will also carry over to other interactions we have going forward, like picking up loot and stuff like that. And with Revive being that first interaction, it brought out another problem, which is that the X button, so the left face button on an Xbox controller, was actually being used by two different things in our controller scheme, which is just the interact button and the reload button. And to fix this, I borrowed from what we did for the armor plating and the swap input back a few weeks ago. And we needed to make one of them a tap feature and one of them a hold feature when it comes to the input. And although this might seem like a difficult choice of whether to pick reload or interact as the tap, I think it's actually a pretty easy one. If you think about it, when you play a Battle Royale, most of the time you're interacting with things. So doing things like looting, reviving teammates, etc., etc. And reloading, although it is a core part of gameplay, happens quite a bit less. Some games, like Warzone, get a little fancy with it and have a contextual tap system, where if there's nothing to interact with, the tap to reload will still work. And that's more or less the system that I went with. So if you have the opportunity to interact with something, tapping the X button will interact, and holding the X button will reload your weapon. But if you don't have anything to interact with, tapping or holding will reload your weapon. The part where it gets a little tricky, though, is interactions where the interaction doesn't happen instantly. So something like revive. In most games, revive is a hold input, but I don't want to break that input contract with the player. I want whenever you hold down that X button for you to reload your weapon. And that is what I did. So now to revive somebody, you tap the X button and it starts the revive sequence. And you can either tap again to cancel or do one of the other universal cancel actions that we implemented a few weeks ago now. So something like firing, swapping your weapon, etc. I really don't like the idea of when I'm standing next to a downed teammate and want to reload my gun, that I have to think about whether it's a tap or a hold input. That contract with the player of no matter what is happening around you, if you hold down the X button, you reload your weapon, is incredibly important, and that's why I implemented it this way. And once that was done, I could get on to finally working on a new task and not a holdover bug, which would be hit markers. And to quickly define hit markers for those of you who are unsure, I'm sure you've seen them in games, but essentially it's these little pieces of UI that pop up when you connect a shot with an enemy. It just gives you that extra layer of feedback that you hit somebody and is usually accompanied by a sound. The way most games do it is they have different hit markers for different types of hits. So, for example, you have a standard body shot hit marker, a headshot hit marker, and one for kill shots as well, and then the kill shot headshot combination. And I implemented all four of these and was really excited about the UI I made, hooked everything up, made all the C++ changes, and then I went to test it and I forgot that the bots haven't been showing up for a very long time now. And just to come out and say it, without enemy bots to shoot, I couldn't see the hit markers appearing because there was nothing to hit. So this brought that we can't see the bots anymore bug from my backlog right up to the top of the sprint, and I attacked it right away. And this bug occurred before I started these weekly devlogs, when I was just kind of tinkering with all the Test Drive 2 features, and I did something to break the spawns when I was refactoring the bots. After quite a bit of frustrating investigation and trying to remember what I did over a month and a half ago now, I was able to finally fix the bug and get the bots spawning in correctly again. You'll notice that they aren't facing the right way anymore and they seem a little bit off, but that's a problem for another day. They are good enough to shoot, and as you can see, the hit markers are coming up perfectly, and everything is looking great with the hit marker feature. And now that the hit markers are in, the next logical step is to get the hit feedback animations in, but I didn't quite get to that, so we'll leave that for next week. And speaking of next week, definitely subscribe to the channel if you're new around here so you can keep up with the weekly devlogs released every Friday, by the way, and see where this journey of developing this massive project as a solo dev takes me. I'd also very much appreciate it if you could like the video, leave a comment to say hi. Pretty much anything you want to do would be awesome, because it helps other people find my videos and become members of the community. I always hate asking for this stuff, but it's very important to do so, especially for a small channel like mine, so any help you can give me is greatly appreciated. Also, a quick reminder that the game you've been seeing played in the background of this video the entire time is live on Steam right now. So just click the link in the description to sign up for the Slammer playtest. And this is Test Drive 1 that you're seeing, and that's what's live. So you can hop in with up to 3 friends, shoot some bots, have some fun, try out the loadout features, etc. And if you do so, definitely let me know what you think. And with all that being said, I've been Steve. Thank you so much as always for watching, and I'll see you next week.